Hello and welcome to Spotlight on Education. I'm Dr. Jon Kopko, Superintendent of the East Brunswick Public Schools, and your host for the program. Our topic for today is planning for next year and planning for the next century. And our program does have two distinct portions. One which will discuss plans that we have for our entering kindergarten students, and the other will discuss the upcoming bond referendum, which is scheduled for February the 28th. On that date, voters in the community will be asked to cast their ballot to authorize the Board of Education to provide bonds which will fund improvements in our schools, which will certainly affect not only the schools but the education of the students into the 21st century. But our first portion relating specifically to kindergarten, I'd like to welcome Dr. JoAnn Magistro to the studio today. JoAnn is our Assistant Superintendent of Schools, and one of her responsibilities is the kindergarten program in the district. And JoAnn, I'm wondering if we could begin by having you discuss with parents some of the things that they can do to prepare their child for entering kindergarten.
The first suggestion I like to give parents is to relax. One of the main things that we find are the parents are far more anxious than the children coming to kindergarten, especially if it's their first child. We have children coming to us from various backgrounds and experiences, children who have been to preschool before, children who have not, children who know how to read their name and recite the alphabet and those that do not, children who know how to read and those that do not. Each of these children come to our school, and I'm very, very proud to say that our kindergarten teachers are very experienced with dealing with a variety of abilities in the classroom. And these children all fare very, very well. So initially we just need to relax and not be concerned on what the child knows and does not know to begin coming to school. I do like to suggest, however, that parents read to their children often. That's the number one thing that our teachers tell us all the time. Read, when I say often, several times a day. Little kids love to read, and parents should read to them very often. Many times children have a favorite book that they enjoy reading again and again and again, and that's wonderful. Perhaps the first time it would be suggested that the parents read that book with as much enthusiasm and emphasis that they can. After that, start asking children what they think might happen next in that book, what they remember happening next in that book. Ask questions that get the child to think, such as what would happen if the big bad wolf wasn't bad after all. And most importantly, model. Parents should model reading behavior by reading themselves. As children grow up in a home where reading is important, children develop that sense, and that's really very, very important. Another suggestion I like to make to parents is to relate learning to daily kinds of things that happen in the home. When children ask for cookies, ask them to help you count how many cookies they want. After they've eaten one, have them ask them how many they have left. When children relate learning to daily kinds of things, it makes learning fun, and it also stays with them much, much longer. I suggest that parents take their children to zoos and museums and all kinds of things to really develop a strong sense of enjoyment to learning. If you bring a child to us who loves learning, we'll do the rest.
Could you give us an overview of a kindergarten day?
Kindergarten day is fun. Whenever I can escape from central office, that's my fun place to go. Kindergarten begins with opening exercises in which children learn to the weather, they discuss calendar, they learn the Pledge of Allegiance. They then go into a very important portion of their day which is shared reading. And this is the time when the kindergarten teacher introduces literature to children. She reads to them a piece of many, many different forms of literature. The children respond through choral readings. They sing, they do creative dramatics, and there are various skills that the teacher is learning through the context of literature. The next part of the day is snack, and as you know, Dr. Kopko, I have a 5-year-old myself, and snack to her is the favorite time of the day. Then they go on to follow-up activities and centers, and in that portion of the day, they work on a variety of activities which integrate science, social studies, math, art, into different activities which children may choose, and activities which are developed to relate to the individual differences and abilities of the children in the class. And then we go into dismissal, which is time for us to put our things together and talk about what we've done during that day and to go on. And to hug and kiss for the next day.
Well, kindergarten registration begins next month. Could you tell us the dates and the times, and also what kind of information do parents need in order to register their children?
Okay, the first thing they must know is that their child has to be 5 years of age by October 31st, 1995 to register for kindergarten. And the first day for kindergarten registration is March 7th, and if your last name is between A and H, you would register on the 7th. If your last name is between I and O, you would register on March 8th. And P to Z, March 9th. The times are 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning and 1 to 3 in the afternoon. You must bring with you a birth certificate, immunization records, and proof of residency in East Brunswick. And for proof of residency, you need to bring a voter registration card, an agreement or a contract for a purchase of a home, a utility bill, and I want to remind parents that driver's licenses are not permitted.
JoAnn, thank you very much for being here today and providing this important information to the viewers and also to the parents. Now, before we do see the segment on the bond referendum, I'd like to encourage all of our viewers to attend the community forum, which is being scheduled for February the 8th at 7:30 p.m. at the East Brunswick Public Library to discuss the upcoming referendum. This forum will also be cablecast several times on Channel 8. And again, as I mentioned, I'd like to encourage everyone to take an active part and to take the time to learn as much as you possibly can about the upcoming referendum. The dates of the community forum, the dates when it will be shown on Channel 8, will be listed at the end of this program.
With 7,200 students in 11 schools, the East Brunswick School District is a tremendous asset to the entire community. Many people move here because of our schools, which have been recognized for excellence both statewide and nationally. And this helps to maintain the value of the homes and businesses in our town. We are among the 9% of public school districts in the United States selected to receive the 1994 What Parents Want Award, which is presented by School Match, a school selection consulting firm in Ohio, to districts that have been recognized for meeting the needs of families choosing schools. 3 of our schools have been named National Schools of Excellence, Blue Ribbon Schools by the United States Department of Education, and 2 others are currently in the process of being reviewed for this prestigious honor. East Brunswick High School has been named one of the top high schools in the nation by Red Book magazine, and one of the best in New Jersey by New Jersey Monthly. The district's reputation for excellence in academics, athletics, and the arts is confirmed on a regular basis. It was graphically illustrated in just 1 week in November when our students received 3 major awards. Members of the Model UN International Club were named the outstanding delegation at the Rutgers Model United Nations, and the girls' soccer team and the marching band both won state championships. These achievements and many others have occurred because of our high educational expectations, our dedicated staff, and our supportive parents and community. However, the high quality of education to which we have become accustomed is in jeopardy. There are problems that must be addressed in order to meet our children's educational needs, continue the excellent reputation of our schools, and maintain the value of our property. Increasing enrollment is causing overcrowding throughout the district. Enrollment has jumped by almost 600 students in the past 5 years and will increase by approximately 850 by the end of the century. We are lagging behind other districts in the use of technology and in helping our students develop the technological skills they will need for economic survival in the 21st century. Most of our schools are more than 30 years old, and, like houses of that age, they need major renovations and repairs. The buildings do not meet federal requirements for access for the disabled. Space is at a premium in all the elementary schools, and even if there were more computers available, there would be no room to put them. Because of the limited space and equipment, our elementary students are able to spend an average of only 10 minutes per week working with a computer. Lack of space also results in instrumental music being taught in hallways, and English as a second language and speech classes being held in what are supposed to be closets. Because of overcrowding, it is also necessary to bus some kindergartens and first graders from the school where they belong to another school. In several elementary schools, open spaces that are called lofts house 4 classes with no walls between them. This creates distractions for students on a regular basis. Light fixtures in classrooms and hallways throughout the district need to be replaced with brighter, energy-efficient lighting. At Hammersholt Middle School, teachers must travel from classroom to classroom with materials on a cart through hallways that are exceptionally congested. Most academic classes have 30 or more students, and this chorus class has 38. Students are crowded into the computer lab for their 9-week required course in computer literacy, but lack of space and equipment limits their ability to use the computers as a tool in their other classes. In order to make it possible for everyone to fit into the cafeteria, 262 students must buy and eat lunch every 22 minutes, beginning at 11:08 a.m. and ending at 12:52 p.m. To improve the school environment, repairs are needed in bathrooms and classrooms throughout the building. Dilapidated equipment must be replaced, and space must be provided for storage so that school supplies do not have to be kept in boxes on the floor. Churchill Junior High School, which houses 8th graders and high school freshmen, is so overcrowded that 8th graders must walk up the hill to Smith School for some of their classes. On a sunny day, the 5-minute walk is pleasant, but it is a problem during snow and rain. It also wastes time that could be more profitably spent in a classroom or the media center. Students who are disabled or who are temporarily unable to walk because of an injury must be bused between the two schools. Currently, Churchill students occupy 18 classrooms at Smith, and the cafeterias in both buildings must be used in order to provide enough space for lunch. As in the other schools, access to computers is severely limited because of a lack of space and lack of equipment. Many areas of the school also are in disrepair and need renovation and modernization. Since the high school freshmen attend Churchill, they are severely limited in their ability to take advantage of the wide variety of courses and extracurricular activities available at East Brunswick High School. At the high school, the crowded conditions are graphically illustrated throughout the day, in classrooms, in the hallways when students move between classes, and in the cafeteria. In order to provide enough time for lunch, the first lunch period begins at 10:19 a.m. and the last lunch ends at 1:23 p.m. Space in the Library Media Center is inadequate, and the Guidance Department's College and Career Center are located in a trailer behind the school because there is no room for them in the guidance office. The girls' locker room, which was built before there were many interscholastic athletics available for girls, has only 45 lockers, in contrast to 165 in the boys' locker room. Although ramps have been built to improve access for disabled students, they still must travel in circuitous routes to reach some areas of the school. Providing access for the disabled also means much more than installing ramps. For example, bathrooms must be renovated, fire alarms must be moved, and signage must be provided according to federal requirements. Although these improvements are mandated, the government does not provide funds for them. Last year, East Brunswick High School was reaccredited by the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools after a comprehensive study by a visiting committee of 26 educators who spent 3 days at the school. Their report stated that the school, quote, which is 30 years old, is still attractive to see, but is showing its age in terms of its inner workings. The heating system, outdated laboratories and classrooms, and inadequate work areas for teachers. The need for renovation and expansion is critical, end quote. The report also included the statement that, quote, the committee was very impressed with the academic results given the physical limitations of the building.
I think one definite problem that I see at the high school that many students see is the overcrowding that we experience in the classrooms, the hallways, and the cafeteria. It's difficult to get from class to class on time without running through the halls and knocking into people. And in the classrooms themselves, we're finding often most of our classes have over 25 students in them, and it's difficult for the teacher to give ample attention to each of the students. So I think that would be the biggest improvement necessary at the high school.
I feel that overcrowdedness has become a big problem in this school. Walking through the halls used to be a break time in between classes, and now it's just become a task. I also feel that technologies needs to be improved, because if not, then East Brunswick can fall behind in the ratings of in school systems.
Well, I think the biggest problem that East Brunswick faces in its problem with the schools is lack of technology. We've been here for 3 years now, or at least I have, and I see that although things are here and the resources are here, they're not enough. And going into the year 2000, we have to expect better technology, better computers, better resources. We need to increase the things that we have, or we face falling behind in the education process.
I think the biggest problem in the high school now is that there's a lack of technology. While East Brunswick has a wonderful school system, it still could be better. It's going to be falling behind. It's not going to be as esteemed as it has been in the past if we don't get more technology.
In an effort to develop solutions to some of the problems we've seen, last summer, Dr. Jon Kopko, our superintendent of schools, placed an ad in the Sentinel and on Channel 8, asking for volunteers to serve on a committee to study enrollment projections and facilities needs in the district. 70 members of the community, including students, staff members, parents, retirees, and residents who are employed in a variety of professions, responded to the ad.
Well, I knew that the committee would be dealing with important issues that affect everyone in East Brunswick, especially the students, so I thought we needed a student perspective on the committee.
I'm a stay-at-home mom of 2 preschool-age children, so I really don't have any experience in the school system. Some of my neighbors do have children in the schools, and they were telling me about overcrowding problems that they were experiencing. I wanted to join the committee so I could find out for myself what the real issues were and to make an informed decision.
As a resident of East Brunswick, it's important to get involved in the issues so that you can become informed and educated on those issues that involve our community. I volunteered because I realized that our education system was sick and quickly becoming disabled. By learning about the problems, you can get involved with creating the solutions. A good education system is an investment in our future, for ourselves, the future value of our homes, and the future of our children.
Well, my reasons for asking to be on the committee were threefold. Number one, as a concerned parent of 3 children in the district, at the elementary level right now. And 2, as a past educator who has always firmly believed in the public school system and that it affords the community the best possible education. And number 3, to protect my investment in my property.
My wife and I moved to East Brunswick 25 years ago with our 6 children. All of our children went through the East Brunswick school system. They all graduated from the high school and went on to college and now enjoy rewarding professional careers. 3 years ago, I retired from the New York City school system. I taught elementary school, high school, junior high school. I supervised junior high school, and I ended my career with 15 years as principal of a large elementary school on Staten Island. After all the commotion of the lost bond issue last year, I felt I wanted to find out what the problems in the East Brunswick school system were, because I want my grandchildren to enjoy the same high-quality, excellent education as my children did. I joined the committee and I attended all of the meetings. I visited schools. I was appalled at the lack of technology. My elementary school on Staten Island had an air-conditioned computer room 8 years ago.
The committee met many times to achieve the following mission: develop a proposal to resolve problems related to growth in enrollment, aging infrastructure, lack of technology, and the resultant limitations to educational programs for students in the East Brunswick Public Schools. They also interviewed about 1,000 other members of the community, asking them 2 questions. Which issues related to facilities, technology, and programs do you believe will be the most critical for the school district during the next 5 years? And what would you propose as the solutions to these issues? These questions were also discussed at a community forum held by the committee, which more than 200 people attended. After several months of intensive work, including touring the schools, studying a variety of options and their related costs, the committee presented a report and recommendations to the Board of Education. First, the needs were identified as follows: provide 1,100 more seats for students, increase and improve technology in all schools, repair and renovate aging school buildings, meet federal requirements for disabled access. In order to meet the needs, the committee concluded that it is necessary to implement a comprehensive plan to meet enrollment, technology, repair, renovation, modernization, and disabled needs into the 21st century, avoid partial solutions, negative impact on educational programs, multiple bond issues, and expensive postponements. The committee also recommended the following plans. For the elementary schools, add more space for elementary students by returning Smith School to its original use as an elementary school. This will increase the number of elementary schools to 9 and reduce overcrowding in the existing 8 schools. Create computer labs and add space for special programs in each school. Add technology to classrooms, equip the computer labs in each school, wire and cable the schools for technology. Repair and renovate all schools. Provide access for the disabled as required by federal law. At Hammersholt and Churchill, make each school an intermediate school for grades 6 through 8. Have identical educational programs in each school. Reduce overcrowding at both schools by sending the approximately 500 members of the freshman class to East Brunswick High School. Eliminate the need for 8th graders to use 18 classrooms at Smith School. Increase students' access to technology by equipping additional computer labs and classrooms in both schools. Wire and cable both schools for technology. Repair and renovate both schools. Provide access for the disabled as required by federal law. For East Brunswick High School, change the grade structure to include the freshman class. Add seats by building an addition. Expand core facilities and reduce overcrowding in hallways. Add technology to classrooms, wire and cable the building. Repair and renovate throughout the school. Provide access for the disabled as required by federal law. The advantages of the plan developed by the committee include: provide safe, sufficient, and educationally appropriate room for learning for our students. Eliminates the need to have many referenda during the coming years. Protects the investments that residents have made in our schools during the past 40 years. Maintains property values in the community. enables our district to continue the excellence. In order to transform the plan into reality, the committee recommended that the board issue 30-year bonds for $23.1 million. The cost of the bonds would be phased in over a 4-year period. For a house assessed at $100,000, which currently has a market value of between $175,000 and $200,000, the cost would be an additional $21 in the first year, $42 in the second, $31 in the third, and $10 in the fourth. There would be no additional increase in years 5 through 30. The total impact on $100,000 of assessed value would be $104. After reviewing the committee's recommendations, the Board of Education voted to hold a bond referendum on Tuesday, February 28th. Voters will cast their ballots on a proposal to authorize the board to issue bonds in the amount of $23.1 million to construct additions and make renovations and/or facility improvements at Bowen Monroe, Central, Chittick, Frost, Irwin, Lawrence Brook, Memorial, Smith, Warnsdorfer, Churchill, Hammersholt, and East Brunswick High School, including site work and acquisition and installation of furnishings and equipment, in order to accommodate a district-wide grade realignment, alleviate overcrowding, meet Americans with Disabilities Act ADA requirements, replace operating and maintenance systems and provide structural repairs, enhance technology. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., and polling places will be the same as they were in the general election in November. If you will not be able to go to the polls that day, you may apply for an absentee ballot. All mailed applications must be in the county clerk's office by February 21st, or you may apply for an absentee ballot in person in the county clerk's office in New Brunswick up until 3 p.m. on February 27th. If the referendum is approved, some improvements will be ready by September of this year. All construction is expected to be completed by September 1997, when all of our students will benefit from our expanded, renovative school buildings, and the current 6th graders will become the first freshmen to attend East Brunswick High School. A community forum to discuss the referendum was held in the East Brunswick Public Library on February 8th. The tape of the forum will be cablecast on Channel 8 at the following times: 11:30 a.m. Monday, February 13th, 1 p.m. Saturday, February 18th, 8 p.m. Tuesday, February 21st, and 7 p.m. Monday, February 27th. If you would like additional information about the referendum or have a question about where to vote, please call 613-6726. We encourage all residents to exercise their right to vote on Tuesday, February 28th.